Welcome to episode 8 of the Future Gains podcast. And today we're jumping right in to my current watch list I have going on. Now, when it comes to posting these, I have not been the most consistent, and for that I apologize. But I haven't been that consistent because it takes a lot of time to research and deep research a stock and decide if I want to invest in it, decide if it, especially if I'm going to recommend it to you guys. And so I haven't had a ton of time to do that, which is why I just decided to go ahead and share with you my gigantic list, not gigantic, but my big list of stocks, AI stocks or future stocks that I'm looking at and I'm going to dive into. And so that way, if you want to dive into them, great. Or if you want to wait for me to do that, awesome. And then you can look at them on your own. But I want to give you a full glimpse of what we're looking at. Currently, just right now, before we jump right into it, the current state of AI stocks is if you're a long-term investor, which if you're listening, you are like me, holy moly, it's a great time to buy. It's like you're shopping at Walmart compared to Whole Foods right now. You know, you were at Whole Foods, a month ago, and now you're at Walmart. Now you're like, wow, I can get the same apples for way less. Don't look at the egg prices, but other than that, you're getting the bottom of the barrel prices right now. Nvidia is the cheapest it's ever been, not ever, but the cheapest it's been in like 4 or 5 years when it comes to price to earnings ratio. So not recommended, not recommending anything, but this is a fantastic time to buy, in my opinion. Again, no recommendations, no promises. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to go ahead and start recommending some stocks that whether it be through articles or whether it be through videos, I've seen these stocks and I wrote them down on my watch list to make sure I want to check them out later. So first, it's going to be the newest one, which is called Blaze Holdings. The stock symbol is BZA.I. It IPO'd in December, and I didn't touch it because I haven't messed with IPOs too much, and I'm glad I didn't. IPO'd at $13. Now it's down to $5. It might be under $5 actually right now, and it might be an AI services company. Which, if you listen to every podcast episode we've had, service companies are going to be where it's at. So I'm very interested in checking them out a little bit more. So that's Blaze Holdings. The big ones I'm going to mention that are enterprise/cloud AI players, which, by the way, if you're listening to this while you're doing something or while you're working out, which I think you're a crazy person if you work out and listen to podcasts, but that's beside the point. So I understand there's going to be a lot here. So if you need to go back and write these down, you're absolutely welcome to, or I'm going to put these full every single stock I mentioned in the description of this podcast. So that way you can have it, just copy and paste it, research it later. So jumping into it, we have Salesforce. I've talked about Salesforce before. They're a leader in the cloud-based business software. We talked about how big a software we think is going to have this year. Salesforce is basically integrating AI into what it already offers, including something called Einstein AI, which is going to enhance automation and customer insights. If AI agents are the future, Salesforce may already be developing them, utilizing them. They're probably going to be the big dogs when it comes to AI agents. So I'm definitely interested in them. Next, we have a company you may have heard of before called Snowflake. Maybe you haven't. It's a major data company that basically uses cloud and leverages AI for data analysis and automation, which I know a couple different companies do. So if AI adoption grows, which it will, Snowflake could be a big beneficiary when it comes to enterprise AI infrastructure. Next, we have a company that I actually got recommended from. Well, I didn't get recommended personally, obviously. I'm not friends with them. But Dan Ives recommended Elastic, which is ESTC, and they provide AI-powered search and analytics solutions, which are crucial for companies adopting AI at scale. So again, I haven't looked into any of these companies deeply. I'm not recommending any of these companies. These are just the ones that I am interested in and I'm checking out. So another one you might have heard of is C3 AI. This is a company that builds AI software to help big businesses, automate their processes, make smarter decisions, analyze data. It works with industries like finance, healthcare, energy, and it tries to improve efficiency and predict problems basically before they happen. So they're one to mention. Another one that's I've heard of before that I haven't touched and then I wish I did is Big Bear AI. Again, and this is not a reason to invest in a stock, but any stock that has the name AI in it has been hot lately, and I don't know if it'll be hot in the future, but something to keep in mind. It focuses on AI that helps companies and the government make better decisions by analyzing large amounts of data, which I know sounds pretty similar. So you'd have to look into these on how Big Bear AI, on how C3 AI, on how Palantir are all different. Next, we have Nebus. I think I'm saying that right. Nebus. I don't know. a cloud computing and AI chip center backed by Nvidia. You got to love that, which makes it great. You could say, hey, the hardware phase is already over. I disagree. I think that was a huge part of it, but I think the more and more companies start using AI, you're just going to need more and more chips. Right now, it's just the big guys, but eventually it's going to be literally everybody. Next, we have Lam Research, which again has to do with the chip production. They basically manufacture critical equipment that is needed for making those chips. So they're going to be continue to be needed, continue to be in high demand. There's ASML, which I want to read this one because it's so crazy. Dominates in EUV, which is extreme ultralight lithography. That's probably how you say it. Which is essential for making the most advanced AI chips. So, do I know what that is? No. Am I going to research that because they say it's essential? Yes, I am. So that's something to check out. ASML. There's Micron, which I'm sure you've heard of. It specializes in memory and storage solutions, for which are critical for AI. Well, again, a lot of these things are going to be different aspects of whether it be the chip centers, whether it be the software, whether it be hopefully services in the future. They're just different aspects that are needed. Storage, just like iPhones. You're going to have things that are not just the iPhone hardware stuff, but you're going to have cloud computing services that are eventually needed as well. We have Marvel, which if you've been following Marvel, they've had a big run up like a lot of other AI companies have, but I think they're down right now. They provide networking and storage solutions for AI data centers, so very similar, positioning itself key a part of AI infrastructure. There's ARM, which if you haven't heard of that, that's another one of the companies that Nvidia had invested in. I can't remember if they still invest in them or not, but their energy efficient chip architectures are widely used in AI and edge computing applications. So they're big on kind of physical AI. This one I'm really interested in, not for any particular reason. It just seems like a really good idea. It seems pretty early on. So we're going to be able to get something before it takes off, and they're backed by Nvidia. So this next company is called Arbe Robotics. ARBE is the stock symbol. They recently partnered with Nvidia for autonomous vehicle radar technology. Robotics, I think, is something that's going to grow a ton when AI starts working on it more. And they're only like $1.15 right now. So it's something you can load up on. They were up to $4 in the past 6 months. So there could be a lot of possible growth there. I really like ARB. I'm going to check them out and do a deep dive into them. If that's an episode you want to hear, let me know. There's Serve Robotics, which if you're currently an owner of Serve Robotics, I apologize because this past month you're down over 60%. So you might be like, if this guy mentions Serve, I'm going to lose it. And listen, I understand. I get it. But for people who are not invested, it's down 60%. All right. And I haven't looked super deep into them, but they're a company that's focused on AI powered delivery robots, positioning itself in the growing automation space. So we'll see how they do. There's Cerence, CRNC is the stock symbol for that. And we've mentioned them before, it's a direct competitor to SoundHound. I haven't researched them deeply yet, and I plan on doing that so I can decide whether I like them or SoundHound more. But either way, I'm pretty sold on their vision and their mission. Both companies are doing. I think there's a lot of potential there. So I just got to figure out who I'm going to go with, or if I feel like it's more fair to go with a little bit of both. There's CrowdStrike, which is a cyber company utilizing AI for advanced threat detection, which I think AI is going to be a big thing when it comes to security as well. It might sound repetitive. I'm basically saying AI is going to be a big thing in almost every industry, and that's probably true. We only got a few more left, so hang with me here. We have Illumina, which is LIMN is the stock symbol. It integrates AI into genomics and Medicare related research, which could revolutionize precision medicine. So this is a little bit of AI in healthcare, which I think is something that hasn't really been touched on yet, but could happen. I will admit my knowledge here is very low. I have not researched these companies, the next two, at all. So just a heads up, I'm not even going to try to say it. The stock symbols IQV. They're focused on healthcare, data analytics. There's NanoX, which is a medical imaging company using AI to make diagnostic imaging a little bit more accessible. So there's someone to check out. When it comes to the quantum computing, you can't not mention them. I'm sure next week when there's the conference, they're going to mention quantum computing. And so this might be a company that watches IonQ. They're one of the leading quantum computing companies. And so that could be a huge growth. I know that originally Jensen said that NVIDIA's CEO said that they were 20 years from away from this technology, but there's been a lot of talk recently that I think they're a lot closer. So that could be something announced next week. There is Coinbase, which is kind of finance. They're basically, it's AI being integrated into crypto trading automation, and so that could be at the forefront. A lot of times you've seen when Bitcoin grows, this Coinbase grows. So something to keep an eye on. Last one we're going to say is OSS, which is One Stop Systems. They're focused on AI driven edge computing solutions, and which are critical for autonomous vehicles and real time AI processing. Which again, going back to that, you can kind of see a theme here. I'm taking AI and I'm thinking, what industries is it going to have the biggest impact? If there's autonomous taxis or autonomous vehicles that AI powers, I think those are going to be insane in the future. So that's something to keep in mind, something to check out. So I know that was a lot of stocks. I understand that you're probably like, why did I listen to this? That's your job to go research those. And I'm going to, but I didn't want to leave you too long without having another podcast in here. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on the stocks that I'm going to be looking into. And if you have time, obviously you dive deep into those. And then when I come back with the next podcast episode, you can tell me if you disagree with the ones I went with, or if you have ones that you really like that I skipped over for some reason. I would love to hear it, because we're all here trying to find the next big company together. And a lot of these companies are small right now, or small relative to what they're going to be in the future. So we're trying to think ahead. And that's what I encourage you to do. Think ahead, pick one of those companies that sounded interesting to you that I said, go research it a ton, go look at everything you can find about it, and decide if you think it's going to be a big deal in the future. So I appreciate you listening to this episode of the Future Gains podcast. If you can, share it with a friend, subscribe, like, leave it 5 stars. I don't think I've had anybody leave it 5 stars. So I would love, if you're listening to this, if you could do that, if you're happy with it so far. If you're not happy with it, leave a comment. Let me know why you're not. And I would love to hear that. So, well, I don't know if I'd love it. It'd probably make me sad, but still, I need some criticism as well. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you being here. I'll see you next time on the Future Gains podcast. The information provided on Future Gains is for informational and educational purposes only. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and this content should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.